This video will get you closer to your dream life than anything else you've tried because you've already tried. You've planned, you've changed your habits, your routines, at least for a while. You even tried to manifest your dream life, and you still ended up in the same place. Not because you're lazy, not because you don't want it badly enough, but because your brain doesn't feel safe enough to let you take action. So instead of moving you forward, it creates resistance. And the more you try to force your way through it, the more you reinforce it. In this video, I'll break down 3 psychological principles that explain exactly why your brain is blocking change and how to remove what's been keeping you stuck so your reality can finally start matching your vision. Let's get into it. Principle 1. The brain resolves conflict over potential. You have a version of your life in your head, the things you want, who you could be, what your life should look like, but your current reality doesn't match it. And that gap creates tension, known as cognitive dissonance. And most people think that tension pushes you to grow. It doesn't. Your brain doesn't care about your potential. It cares about removing the tension as fast as possible. And it has 2 options: align your reality or lower your vision. So it takes the easier path, lowering the vision. No risk, no discomfort, no change. And instead of becoming more, you start accepting less. You adjust your expectations. You soften your goals. You convince yourself you didn't really want that life anyway. And for a while, it works because the tension goes down. But so does your standard, your self-concept, your ability to believe a different life is even available to you. That's how people stay stuck. Not because they couldn't dream bigger, but because it became easier to betray the vision than build a life. And once your brain chooses the easier version of reality, it doesn't stop there. It starts building patterns to keep you there. Principle 2. Action is a self-reinforcing loop. You think you're making decisions consciously, but most of your behavior is already patterned. Your experiences shape your expectations. Your expectations shape your behavior, and your behavior recreates the same experiences over and over again. So even if you say you want more, you keep acting in ways that match what you already know, because it's familiar and predictable. And maintaining your current life doesn't feel threatening, but it costs you something else, because staying where you are isn't neutral. It's just a quieter kind of discomfort, less intense, but constant. When you settle, you remove the tension between what you want and what you experience. But you also remove what makes life meaningful, the drive, the excitement. You don't feel the pressure anymore, but you also stop feeling fully engaged in your life. Settling doesn't calm you, it numbs you. And that slow, constant dissatisfaction is far more corrosive than the discomfort you are trying to avoid. So what happens if you don't settle and you try to break the loop? Principle 3. Safety rewrites what feels possible. You decide to go after what you actually want. Now your brain faces a different problem, because anything unfamiliar, especially something that breaks your patterns, is interpreted as a threat. Your system responds with stress, tension, hesitation, and suddenly you overthink. You procrastinate, you freeze. Not because you're weak, because your brain is trying to protect you. And this is where people make a huge mistake. They try to override it. More pressure, more discipline, more forcing. But pressure doesn't create change. It creates pushback. Real change happens differently, when your brain updates what feels safe. And you don't do that with massive leaps. Because if the step is too big, your brain reads it as danger and reinforces the same belief. See, I can't do this. So instead, you change through controlled exposure. Small actions that feel uncomfortable but manageable. And every time you follow through, you create evidence that you handled it, that nothing collapsed, that maybe this is possible. And those experiences start to stack. New experiences, new expectations, new behavior. But your brain doesn't rely only on your experience. It also looks for external proof. That's why it matters what you expose yourself to, the people you surround yourself with, the media you consume. You want real-life examples that feel similar to you, close to your reality, already doing what you want, because your brain trusts what feels reachable, not what feels exceptional. So change happens when 2 things align: your own experience and the evidence around you. When both point in the same direction, your brain updates what feels possible, and once something feels possible, it stops resisting it. So if you feel stuck, it's not a motivation problem. It's a calibration one. Your brain operates on what's familiar, not what's possible. And until that changes, you'll keep recreating the same patterns, even if you want something different. So the goal isn't bigger action, it's safer action toward a bigger goal. Small, controlled exposure, repeated enough times to create evidence, internally through what you do and externally through what you see. Because once your brain has enough proof, it stops pushing back. And once something feels normal, you don't need discipline to do it. That's when change stops being something you force and starts being something you naturally sustain. If this resonated, let me know in the comments what topics you'd like to see next. This is what we explore here on Skinniest Latte, the place where we wake up, sip up, level up.